What's up again, everybody? Last time we were together, we talked about the most essential Welcome to Rathe Brute cards. That is, the cards that are most essential to playing Brute or to giving Brute its identity that can be found in Welcome to Rathe. Today we're going to talk about the most essential Guardian cards found in Welcome to Rathe. I put together a list of cards that I feel are most often included in Guardian lists. These are cards that help give Guardian an identity and help make that identity what it is. Very, very strong, powerful cards at all rarity levels, at the legendary all the way down to common levels. So we're going to go through that list together. If you have ideas for what other cards should go on this list, hop down into the comments section, pop those in there, and I will consider putting those on the list as well, because I would love for us all to have a nice little concise list that we can all look at as a community and say, hey, new player, if you're interested in this class, check out this list for the cards that you would want to either pick up over time or trade for, that sort of thing. Before we do go any further though, take a look, check it out. Up here, this number is approaching 3,000. Once it hits 3,000, I'm going to hold a giveaway for anybody that is subscribed. All you're going to have to do is go to the video where we talk about the giveaway and do like a thing so that I can get your name. And we'll do a giveaway because I want to say thank you to everyone that's choosing to support the channel by hitting the like, subscribe, and doing the Patreon thing. I want to say thank you to all of you because you guys are absolutely fantastic. You've totally changed my life with the way that this whole thing is going, and I love you for it. So I want to say thank you. That'll happen whenever we hit the 3K mark. Okay, Guardian cards. I think the obvious logical place to start talking about powerful Guardian cards is with the legendary equipment, and this is another legendary piece of equipment that I think should be included, if you can, in Guardian lists. The tectonic plating is a legendary Guardian chest piece. It blocks for 2, which is really, really good. And it says once per turn action, pay 1 resource, and you create a seismic surge aura token. And then, of course, this has go again. It also has the battle worn keyword, which says if you defend with that piece of equipment, it gets a -1 counter. The nice thing about the 2 block on tectonic plating is that it defends for 2 at first. Then it gets a -1 counter, and it still can defend for one more time before it gets a second -1 counter and has no defense left, if that makes sense. That is a very, very underratedly powerful ability. If you're new to the game, 2 block equipment is very, very good. So why is that good? Well, to understand why this card is good, you have to kind of talk about this card. You have to understand what this seismic surge aura token does. It is an aura token, like I said. It says at the beginning of your action phase, you destroy this, and the next Guardian attack action card you play this turn cost 1 less to play. So in other words, when you use the effect on tectonic plating, it is going to make one of these. And then at the start of your next turn, this thing is going to explode. This one, it's a double-sided back. By the way, I remember totally when I was first in the game. I remember it was day 3 of the game. I opened some packs and I was like, wait a minute, hold up. Why are there 2 things? Is this a misprint? No, it's a double-sided token so you can get more of the token items, which totally blew my mind at the time. I was like, there's something wrong with this. Nevertheless, yeah, when you play a seismic surge token out there on the start of your next turn, this will explode and reduce the cost of one of your Guardian actions by 1. And that is very, very good. Attack actions. Did I say action? Yeah, attack actions by 1. And that's very, very good because Guardians have really big, expensive attacks. That's what Guardians want to do. They want to load their hand up with blue cards, drop a bunch of blue cards, and send one giant attack your way, and make it cheaper with seismic surge tokens and do other stuff with the Bravo hero power, making it have the keyword dominate, which is sort of the Guardian keyword in their class. And this goes a long way to doing that. Not only does it do that, it also gives you a block for 2, which is very good, and it has some synergy with other cards within the class that allow it to get even stronger blocks going forward. So yeah, if you have the ability to get your hands on a tectonic plating, it is worth considering. It is worth the money. If you plan on playing in tournaments and you want to play Bravo and Guardian, it's worth picking up. Now, you don't, obviously, with every single legendary equipment, -1, I would say, in the game, class-based equipment, you can always run the common, generic equipments in those places if you don't have them. But this goes so much further, and that's true of most of the legendary equipments for classes. This goes so much further in actually pushing your class identity that it is worth picking up if you can. Speaking of things that are absolutely class defining, the first card we should talk about outside of the legendary equipment is Crippling Crush. Crippling Crush is a 7-cost attack. It attacks for 11, and it defends for 3, and it pitches 1, but it attacks for 11. And you can only play it if you are playing Bravo. Now, as of right now, there's only Bravo in the Guardian class, so you can play this, obviously, as a Guardian. It has a Crush effect, and Crush is the keyword as well within Guardian that says if the attack that has Crush deals 4 or more damage to the opposing hero, use the effect. And the effect here is, if it deals 4 or more damage, you just discard 2 random cards from their hand. So, if you give this Dominate, and they can only block with a single card from hand, if they cannot avoid taking 4 or more damage from this card, not only are you pulling possibly 1 card with Dominate from their hand, but 2 additional cards. So normally, if they play Crippling Crush, they block with equipment and then just lose 2 cards, or they full block with their hand, which is probably more common. Full block with the hand, because you're already going to lose 2 cards in the first place. So a very, very powerful card. This is a card that you should go and you should buy in triplicate. You should have 3 of these. I think I have 3 of these exactly. I think I have 3. I can't remember. This was like the first Majestic that I ever pulled in the entire game. Like the game came out October 2019, and I was opening packs, and I'm pretty sure this was the first. It was a foil Majestic too. It's a good card, man. Good card. I think I traded it, which was really dumb. But this is a great card. You should get your hands on this. This is the ultimate attack for a Guardian. It deals 11 damage. You give it Dominate. It's so hard to deal with. Your opponent has to like have a defense reaction and arsenal and defend with a card from hand and have equipment block. It's like, it's crazy. This is the best card in Guardian. Right behind that one is Spinal Crush. This is also a Majestic. It's a 5-cost attack. It attacks for 9. It defends for 3. It pitches red as well. And this one has the Crush effect that says if it deals 4 or more damage, your opponent's like effects, period, their hero effects, their action cards, their activated abilities, and attacks, all of it, they lose and they can't gain Go Again. This is a crazy card to have actually trigger the Crush effect on. I know this personally, first-hand experience. Very recently, I played a game against Guardian, and it was one of those points where, like, if I try to, block this out, then I'm losing 3 cards from hand. If I don't block it out to the point where I take 4 or more, then my turn is like draw up and pass anyway. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you don't have the opportunity, if they give it Dominate, to block with multiple cards from hand. It's crazy. Being able to turn off Go Again effects means that if you're playing like anything that plays a buff, like a card that plays a buff and then has Go Again built in so that you can then do an attack with said buff, you can't do anything on your turn. You can literally attack with just like your weapon and be done. So if you're playing like Guardian, which can oftentimes just attack with a weapon and be done, then maybe that's okay. If you're playing Brute, same thing. But Ninja, everything has Go Again and you're just trying to flurry a bunch of attacks. This card is backbreaking. Literally, that was the best pun I've ever made in my life, because look, there's a ninja on the card and their back is being broken. That you got to hit the like and the subscribe for that pun. I didn't even plan it. That just feels so good. Oh, puns are the best. Okay, this card's really good. It's really good against arc heroes too, because if you're like playing mech and the mech player wants to like boost, they can't, right? Because they can't gain Go Again. If you're playing against ranger and they're go wide, they can't. If they're go tall, they can't, because you can't play a buff and then attack with an arrow because it has to have Go Again, right? This card is so good against almost every class that like it's a staple. And the most funny part of this is I don't own a single copy of this card, alpha or unlimited. So it's like, well, that sucks for me. I got to go buy some, and I can't find them. I can't find them yet to purchase. If you know where any Spinal Crushes is, let me know. Let me know where some are. Now we're on to a super that has perhaps some of the best foiling that I've ever seen, like period, end of story. Showtime is a 3-cost Guardian Aura action, so it's going to stay out in the field until it's destroyed by itself. Defense for 3, it pitches blue, which is fantastic. You just want a ton of blue pitch in Guardian. It's a Bravo specialization, so you can play it. But if they give us a new Guardian character in Monarch, then you couldn't. You can only play it if you're Bravo. It says when it enters the arena, you just search your deck for a Guardian attack action card. You find it, you reveal it, you put it into your hand, and you shuffle your deck. So this literally tutors Crippling Crush or Spinal Crush, which is just beautiful. It's wonderful. It then says, at the beginning of your action phase, you destroy it and draw a card, which is even better. Oh my goodness. This card is so good. This card is so good. Okay, so you play the card, you pitch a blue, you play the card down, it sticks around, it replaces itself on the next turn, which means you're more able to block with cards from hand. It means that you have more resources to play the Crippling Crush because it costs stinking 7 to play. If you, for example, if you just played a blue card and used the tectonic plating effect, and then you played another blue card and played Showtime, because obviously you'd have 2 resources left, then you have to pay 3, so you have to pitch another card. You pitch blue, for example, play Showtime, that leaves you with 2 resources floating, and you could like attack, right, with a hammer. I think it hammers 2, right? So you attack with a hammer, and this is like a 3-card play that you can make if you, oh no, sorry, hammers 3, so you'd have to pitch like another thing, or you can play like a cheap attack. Let's say that you reduce the cost of a previous attack, right? So this is like a cheap 3-card hand way of setting yourself up for next turn. You don't even have to attack on that turn. You can literally just use Showtime as a setup turn, and it is just so good. Even if you don't even play Showtime, just the fact that you can pitch this for blue, like for 3 resources, it's exactly what you want in Guardian. And that's why it makes the Essentials list, because these are all cards that do what Guardian players want to do and are best at doing. And if you can get your hands on these, then you can play Guardian at a reasonably high level. Okay, the next one's another super. It's an attack. I'll just say it. It's Cranial Crush. I almost didn't put Cranial Crush on the Essentials list, and you can consider it not essential if you want, but I'm going to put it there because it does get run more often than not. If you have it, it's an easy include. It's a 6 attack that attacks for 8. Costs 6 to play. Pitches blue, which is another really great reason why you put it in, because you can always pitch it away for a better attack if you have one. The Crush effect is solid in that it can prevent your opponent from drawing cards during their turn. Not at the end of their turn when you normally refill your hand, but during their turn. So if there's a card that says, play it, draw a card, like, I don't know, Gorganian Tome from the Crucible of War set, or really like, why did I blank on the warrior attack? Oh my god, I forgot it. It's the one I don't have. It's the single. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Who cares? That card that gives +2, and if a weapon hits, it draws you a card. Okay, it defends against that because your opponent can't draw cards during their turn. So you have to respect that it's an 8 attack, and you can give it dominate by pitching, extra resources and playing it. So it's one of those cards that to me is really on the cusp. I put it on because I do see it in lists more often than not, and it does work against a variety of different classes. I mean, you could even do work against like Ninja. There's a lot of classes that will draw cards. Ranger, the Ranger effect on Death Dealer that draws you a card won't actually trigger. So there's a lot of like subtle things that this prevents and that you have to respect therefore from this effect. So it's a solid card as well. In fact, let me know in a comment below, do you think this should be on the list or do you not? I would love to hear your opinion. Continuing with really powerful attacks, we have a rare card that is Disable. Disable cost 5. It can attack for like 9, 8, or 7, depending on what version you're running. And the Crush effect is just always good. It's universally good. If your opponent has something in Arsenal, it has to go to the bottom of their deck. Okay, so you're threatening to remove whatever their stored resources are. Resources in the sense of like your cards can be considered resources because if you bank 1 to play next turn, you can consider that a resource. So it's taking that stored resource of whatever bankable card you've put in Arsenal and just removed it completely. So if it's not a defense reaction down there, your opponent is stuck with this hard choice of trying to overblock so you don't take 4 or more, or just taking 4 or more with like a standard, more easy to deal with block and losing the card that you put down there. So it's a really cool trade-off card. I see this card included a whole lot in lists that I've looked at, and I've looked at a lot of lists to put this entire list together. I said list a bunch, it felt weird. This essentials list is made up of cards that I have just poured over competitive deck lists on and kind of compiled based on what I've played and what I've seen in deck lists. And this is just a fantastic card. I include this in my Guardian deck as well, and it is solid all the way around. The fact that it on the red can attack for 9 by paying 5 is like really, really good. So solid card. And while I'm on this subject, I might as well include this one as well. I think the other big attack is Crush Confidence. It is literally it costs 3 and it can attack for 7. That is value right there. It also can turn off your opponent's hero effects and activated abilities, which is also really good. So you have to respect a Crush Confidence if it comes down. And I see this one played a lot more often in like budget lists, but it is an essential budget list card. It's a common, and that's why it's really, really good. Even in like competitive lists, it gets played. Even I think 3-ofs like across the board. Maybe not yellows. Oftentimes the blue and the red. Yeah, blue and red I see a lot. And I think to round out our list, there are some cards that I'm leaving off that I do feel like are on the very like cusp of making it in, but I think this one earns a spot. Staunch Response is a Guardian defense reaction that costs 2. It can defend for 5, 6, or 7. Oftentimes, most people run the blue because, again, you run a predominantly blue deck when you're playing Guardian. It defends for 5 on the blue side, which is really solid because you're normally running defense reactions that defend for 4, so 1 extra. You'd have to pay 2 for this, but oftentimes you have blue in your hand. It does say if you pay 4 resources over the top, this can defend for an additional +3. So if you paid 2 blues, this can defend for 8. Which is kind of crazy. That's kind of a good card. It just does what you'd want to do in Guardian. Again, with Guardian, you're just looking to push 1 big attack each turn. And so if you pay some resources on your opponent's turn to play something like a Staunch Response, it doesn't hurt you as much because you don't need combo cards to fit together. You don't need cards for resources and then cards for giving go again and then cards for attacking. You don't need that sort of thing. You literally just slam down some blues and then play the attack from arsenal or from your hand. So a card like a defense reaction that defends for 5 and is blue is just perfect, right? It just fits right in there. So I would consider this rare an essential card in budget and in higher competitive lists. So that's what I've got for the Guardian Essentials list. Guardian's kind of a weird one because Guardian has so many cards in the generic card pool that fits so well that it's really hard to talk about Guardian without mentioning all of those great cards like Remembrance and stuff like that, Tome of Fjendal, all that sort of thing just fit into Guardian lists so easily that it's hard to just talk about the Guardian cards without mentioning those cards, but I'm going to save all of those generic cards for their own video, and that one's going to be a pretty long one because like the WTR generic card pool is insane. It is absolutely insanely powerful, and you should get your hands on like just about every card in the generic card pool. Spoiler alert, I just gave away all the information for that video, so don't skip it, but you could probably skip it. But don't skip it because I'd love to have you watch that video down the line as well. All right, let me know what you think about this list in a comment below. Let me know if you want me to add some cards or if I missed something. I am a fallible human. I am not infallible, so if I miss something, let me know and we can work on it together. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.